It's Christmas time. So we're going to start talking about holiday movies and holiday TV shows, I guess. This episode particularly, we're going to talk about one TV show that I feel isn't getting enough attention from anybody. Solar Opposites.
Damn it, how did the pupa get his Harry Potter whistle again? Terry, I thought you locked it up in the childproof cabinets, where we keep the poison darts.
I did. I put it behind the poison
That
dart.
song is so annoying.
You didn't do any of the Christmas stuff with us, pupa. You're bad.
How does he keep getting that thing? Is he like out getting help?
Recently, Solar Opposites has released its holiday special. Actually, I think it was like last week or something. But you guys need to get on this. Why is nobody watching Solar Opposites? It's a really good show. It's like one of the funniest things I've seen right now. So we're going to talk about the holiday special, but I also wanted to get around to just talking about Solar Opposites and why you need to watch this show. Oh, and just before we start here, don't forget to like and subscribe. You know the rest. Let's go. First of all, Solar Opposites is basically the best I can describe the Futurama to Rick and Morty. It's the spin-off that every popular animated TV show gets. For Family Guy, it was American Dad, and with Rick and Morty, it's Solar Opposites. In fact, it's possible that Rick and Morty and Solar Opposites could exist in the same world. The art style is very similar, and the characters all look the same. Plus, they just live somewhere in America anyway, and they don't really go outside of their town too often. A lot of the stories are self-contained, either within the house or within the town. Kind of like The Simpsons was in its older run. And like Futurama, which was developed by only part of the Simpsons crew, Solar Opposites is very much the same way. Dan Harmon is not involved, but this show is much more of Justin Roiland's brainchild, I guess. I think maybe a lot of people simply just have not seen this because it's aired on an online streaming service and not traditional cable television, or at least Adult Swim, but it's well worth watching. It's available on Hulu. It was made for Hulu. And in Canada, you can watch it on Disney+. Isn't that kind of funny? But actually, Disney Plus in Canada sort of slaps. Now that they've added that Star thing, like, there's a lot of really cool movies on there. A lot of great series, too. Solar Opposites being one of them. Solar Opposites basically tells the story of 4 stranded aliens who form kind of a family unit. A lot of the humor comes from them just trying to straight up represent the purest form of human concepts, but not really understanding the little nuances and idiosyncrasies that go behind them, which is really funny. That's like straight up just a gold mine for clever writing. The 4 main characters are Corvo, voiced by Justin Roiland himself, Terry, who I actually just found out now was voiced by Thomas Middleditch. This is blowing my mind because I could not picture him at all voicing him. Those pair are the adults of the group.
Thank God we got the mattress with the fabric-encased coils, otherwise I'd be bouncing all over the place.
Corvo is a lot more strictly traditional and he hates everything about Earth. And Terry is a lot more laid back. He's not really against Earth at all. In fact, he kind of loves it here. He just wants to really have a good time, and he's the character who identifies the most with Earthlings. But instead of children, Terry and Corvo have replicants, which are just clones of themselves in child form. So there's Yumulak, who's the clone of Corvo, who's just like him, very serious. He's much more into Earth, but he's very exploitative of Earth and its humans and their weird problems. Where Terry and Jesse, his replicant, are more in tune with humans and very empathetic, and they're very pleasant to be around and excited about little things. And she's the most wholesome character of the bunch, I think. Aside from the pupa. The pupa's a really wholesome guy. But again, even though they are very innocent in their own way, a lot of the stuff that they do in the show really ends up being horrible if you're a human. And this kind of actually reminds me a lot more of Futurama than Rick and Morty at times. It's a very meh attitude type of humor, and I love it. In the characters' own words, their thing is kind of just sci-fiing things up.
You want to trash the school with sci-fi stuff?
Fuck yeah.
Watch out!
The family unit also has a pupa, which is supposedly supposed to terraform whatever planet they're colonizing. They didn't intentionally mean to land on Earth, they crash landed. But while they're stuck here repairing their ship, the pupa is kind of evolving regardless. And nobody really knows what actually it's supposed to do. So anything can happen, really, and it makes it really fun because there's a lot to explore here about their culture and their society. I didn't really go into the backstory too much, but every episode starts with the intro, which goes over the backstory. And one thing that I love, which, like The Simpsons, every episode has its intro with a different ending. And the ending is always some way that Corvo is bitching about Earth. And it's so funny every time.
It's a horrible home.
This is my
People are
favorite
stupid.
one.
I don't understand why people like daylight so much. It's so loud when it hits your skin.
And likewise in the Christmas special, the entire intro is different. And they just blatantly throw snow and Santa hats on everything. Which is funny in its own right. So every episode is them basically just trying to deal with a different human concept. Here are a couple of my favorite standouts. There's the one episode where Terry and Corvo find out about their neighbor's man cave in his basement, and they decide to make their own because suddenly the energy of the room just hits them so hard. But one of the other things I love, where they take details from the background and just add layers of humor there as well. In this episode, for example, they don't understand that the word is man cave, so on their side they have mank-ave, and they keep referring to it as that. It's the funniest part of the show, and this type of humor is prominent in so many episodes. So if you like that type of stuff where little details in the background keep you coming back to rewatch the episodes, or just little things that you missed at first, or tiny things that you could miss, you're gonna love this show for sure. Another episode I like is the one where Yamulak decides to get a big penis because they don't have sexual organs. So he just sci-fis himself up the biggest penis he can get. And he ends up apparently emitting this thing called BDE, or big dick energy. And basically he kind of goes off the rails near the end and adds 2 big penises. And then just look at this.
Everyone run! I can't control it! Idris Elba was right! Idris Elba was right!
Idris Elba's in it. Yeah, it's funny. The pupa himself, though he starts off as kind of like a voiceless little side character, actually does evolve into like a little character of his own. And he even gets lines, which is interesting for this type of, that type of plot device. Of course, the lines are just nonsense most of the time, but they're so funny and they're used so appropriately. Oh, and I should also mention, during the whole series, there's this entire side storyline about the people in a wall. So basically, Yumulak has a shrink ray that he could use to shrink people down to like pocket size. And then he crafted this whole wall that's like this giant hamster gymnasium type of thing. And he puts people in there that he shrinks down that he just sees on the street, or usually it's people that offend him. Sometimes it's just people he just wants to have in there. And there's an entire plot just dealing with the society that develops in the wall. There's a rebellion, there's a takeover, there's like a whole civil war and everything, and there's a conspiracy. It gets so crazy, and they, as ridiculous as it is, and they keep playing on that with all of the little miniaturized jokes of things, but they go so far with it, and it's such a parody of just these epic movies. It works. I mean, like South Park's been doing it for a long time. I love that type of humor. Oh, and I mentioned before, Pupa has a lot of really good one-liners that come here and there. This is one of my favorite ones, when he kind of gets invested in the storylines.
Thank you, strange creature.
I like Lightning McQueen.
Okay.
Oh, and the best part is, like, this all happens while nobody's even paying attention. So, like, the main storylines with the solar opposites are going on, and then this little in-wall society is happening while they're all, like, kind of in the background doing things. Sometimes the episodes just focus purely on the wall itself. Anyway, so Solar Opposites, amazing show. Definitely get around to it. But like I said, you can enter this from basically any episode, because none of them, aside from the wall epic that's going on, none of the episodes involving the actual solar opposites happen chronologically, really, aside from the season finales. Even just entering with the Christmas special is worth it enough. So let's get around to that. The Christmas episode of Solar Opposites, basically the characters, like all Earth holidays, love Christmas. It's one of the few things that both Corvo and Terry love about Earth. Corvo likes that, just the whole festivity of it and organization, and the fact that it scientifically correlates with the Earth's position from the sun. And Terry just loves, obviously, Christmas, because Terry's cool. I like Terry. Actually, I kind of went through a cycle of liking each individual character throughout the whole run. As part of their Christmas tradition, they decide to watch a Christmas movie, of course. Which one do they pick? Jingle All the Way. Oh, and I probably should have mentioned they sci-fied their way into the universe of the movie, so they're all actually transported within the movie's plot because of some sci-fi device they have on their ship. Yeah, this will be a recurring theme. They'll just kind of make devices to do different plot lines. It's really funny for that aspect as well. And also reminds me very much of Futurama that way. So when they enter this movie world, they end up playing one of the characters. So in Jingle All the Way, they play Arnold Schwarzenegger. And they end up not liking it because they find out that the plot is just them trying to get a Turbo Man doll for Jamie. So they abandon that plot and go to another movie. But then something happens. For some reason, their Christmas spirit is just sucked out of them. Oh, and also, this is like a recurring thing too. Whenever they do experience something that humans experience, like an emotion or a concept or something like that, they always take it to the max, and they're always like so much more extremely affected by it than humans are, by whatever emotions they're feeling. So that makes for a lot of humor as well. And really good writing, too. So the first idea is that they just need to watch more Christmas movies and complete them all. And that will bring back their Christmas spirit. And they do. They go through every Christmas classic, which is all a great parody of these movies. I especially love the Love Actually one. And there are a couple more in there that are just as good. Eventually, they do revisit the Jingle All the Way universe, and it just ends up being kind of a Rick and Morty twist on the story. It's very well worth watching if you like that type of humor. But the best part of the special, which I also think is the best part of the series, is that while it's extremely humorous and kind of dark like Rick and Morty in a lot of ways, the characters are way more wholesome than the Rick and Morty family, for example. They're much more of an after-school special family, where they, at the end of the day, they still love each other. And it's very wholesome sometimes in that regard. But it never gets too wholesome where it's sickening or anything. It's very much an adult cartoon, and you will know that. But it's not just pounding you with dark humor all the time, which I really appreciate. And the Solar Opposites Christmas special is also very much that in that regard. It's wholesome in a very twisted way. Well, anyway, that's the Solar Opposites Christmas special. I hope I've really convinced you to watch the show, if that's your type of humor. It's a great show. There are literally dozens of us watching it on the subreddit. Come join us for some memes. It's just as funny and wholesome as this show. Anyway, that was the kickoff of my Christmas series of videos, and we'll be talking about a Christmas movie next, so come back next week if you're interested in that. Thank you very much for watching.
Do we really have to watch the credits?
I don't know, look at all the shit that happened after we bailed early last time. Best to play it safe.
Rita Wilson had 2 assistants?
How long are these credits?
Can't be much longer. It didn't seem like it took too many people to make this thing. Wait, I think they're over.